So this is about my journey toward leadership. So beyond my classroom, I just want to look at my wider responsibilities at my school. And in my third year of teaching, I took on developing our Independent Learning Center and running our school's special character curriculum. The Independent Learning Center at the time was just me and 2 part-time staff, and the special character curriculum was entire school-wide approach to curriculum and innovation. So it was quite 2 different things. My first experience of leadership, my approach was definitely in the laissez-faire category. I had a very hands-off approach. I assumed that everyone was highly skilled, experienced, they were up-to-date, educated, well-read in the kinds of design principles that we were trying to implement through our curriculum. I really trusted people, and I really thought that my colleagues had the pride and the drive in their work to achieve this stuff. So it did mean that when we were actually implementing things, I quickly found out that a lot of people didn't have the background knowledge and experience that they needed in order to accomplish the stuff I was asking of them to do, especially with very little support. And even basic things like deadlines and managing projects and doing basic problem solving wasn't happening. So I was getting called in all the time to help make all of those little bits and pieces happen. So if my assumption had been correct, and my colleagues were all at the place where I thought they were at, and we were all on board the same ship together, it could have been fantastic. It would have been amazing outcomes, I think, for our students and some really innovative stuff happening. But ultimately, they weren't. And the result of that was that, things didn't happen the way they could. So I sort of went into a bit of a panic mode in my phase 2. So after about 6 months of that, I now know that I probably shifted towards being more of a transactional leader as reality kind of set in, and I realized people are not on the same page. They don't share the same level of commitment or shared understanding. But I know that I probably swung too far in the opposite direction in a way because I began to micromanage down to the detail. I probably treated the whole thing a bit more as a crisis when it didn't necessarily have to be, and looked at specific projects and just getting everyone up to maintain status quo. So that was unquestionably sort of my aim. And I don't know that I actually punished anyone. I really did try to work with people to support them as best I could. So if I did punish people, by grouping them in certain ways or whatever, that was never the intention. It was always to support and upskill, but in retrospect they may have seen that as a punishment. And I think I did reward people. I drew attention to good work. I offered a lot of praise and that kind of thing to the people that were meeting the criteria that was sort of laid out. So from there, now as the staff again have grown, and even within the ILC we're now up to a staff of about 10, I've definitely had to take yet another approach, and it's definitely more challenging. So for me, moving towards a transformational style of leadership is crucial in order for our projects to continue. And if I actually look at the whole school leadership over the last couple of years, we've had another leadership change. I actually see that as being very key in why a lot of our innovations haven't lasted. And that's from a senior leadership perspective as well, because we ended up with these pockets of innovation without them being transformative across the entire school and across curriculum. So it's definitely something that I need to be able to bring to my own smaller areas, but also to the middle and senior management levels when I'm involved in wider school planning and strategic direction. So at the moment, the easiest thing for me is that growth mindset, and I have always worked from a growth mindset. And even when I read Carol Dweck back in, would have been 2008, for the first time, I identified with it immediately, and I understand growth mindset because it's definitely a place where I come from. But now I'm trying to evolve my leadership so that I am sharing growth mindset and helping my colleagues and the people that I'm working for and the people that I'm working with to develop their own growth mindset. I think I also need to share the vision and come back to it more often, because we have because we are such a flexible area, we go through a lot of staff. We get given people and taken out because it's a very easy place to shift people from. So to make sure that everybody has that vision and that ideal, and be inspired and motivated by that, I need to make sure that I am sharing that in a big picture, and that everyone is responsible for maintaining that. And they're also responsible for maintaining it in an authentic way. And constantly for me, that's relating it back to the learner. How is this going to help the learners? And this is why we're doing it, because I think our learners really inspire us to be better practitioners or facilitators, or however you want to see what the role of the modern teacher or leader of learning looks like. And I think I also personally need to foster more creativity and allow for more measured risk to happen, and a culture of innovation amongst my staff, so that once they do understand what the vision is and the big picture is, they can actually help to contribute to developing that further, rather than me just going, this is what we're going to do, and dictating those things that are going to happen next. So the final piece of the puzzle for me is that individual consideration, and making sure that the integrity of each of my staff members is maintained while I develop and work with them from where they're at, in order to then sort of free them up to be motivated and to completely foster the culture of innovation and sharing and risk-taking, so that we can collaborate better as a team. So that's where I'm at right now, and it's definitely challenging. And I think I definitely become a situational leader a lot, as well as we sort of manage fires and risks, but that is what I'm working on at the moment.